Welcome back to another episode of WATTPOD, What a Time to Podcast. Today we have a very interesting guest and very interesting topics to talk about. We have someone who is within the crypto space, within the decentralization, I can't even say it, decentralized data space, within the blockchain space. And this is very exciting for a lot of the viewers, mainly because, there's been such a great hype around crypto, but how do you utilize it? How do you actually make it accessible? How do you make it useful for yourself? And this is what we're going to be talking about today. And I'd like to welcome, with a heartfelt, warm welcome, Yasir Qayam. Nice to meet you, Yasir.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Very glad that you were here as well, because again, we've been looking into your company and we've been trying to understand how does this work, and how have you made such an amazing safe space for businesses, for consumers, for anyone using it, for them to store the data. But without me going too much in detail and probably getting it wrong as well, why don't you tell us a bit more about KwikTrust?
So we started KwikTrust a couple of years ago, and the idea behind KwikTrust was initially to provide storage, lock your files on blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've locked your files on blockchain, that means no one can edit, change it, and modify them. That means that it creates an environment where you can invite people to view the data within that file without and have the knowledge that it can't be tampered with.
Right.
And from there, the project grew, the ideas came in, and it morphed into a digital signature and e-validation platform. And it's got a wide application across all industries. I mean, if you think about documents, files, music, audio, anything that can be recorded and signed and verified and logged is something that you can use KwikTrust for. I'll give you an example. This podcast, once it's uploaded, you can upload it on KwikTrust, and people can't modify it because it's on chain. And if they do modify it, the hash changes. So same thing with contracts, that sort of thing. We also have a patent, which is Super NFT. So NFT market is good. The hype, Bored Apes going up and everything else.
Yeah.
And we are in here to change that, because NFTs are basically an asset, fundamentally an asset. So any asset that you have, you can record on there. So your property, your identity, your car, your yacht, if you guys have one of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my actually. We'll speak on the podcast. Get that sorted.
So why aren't we doing this on the yacht, by the way? If you have one?
We are on it.
Oh, we're on it. Oh, I can feel
this
it.
whole building is a yacht.
Right. Apologies. Yeah, you can cut and edit it.
Yeah, you parked up on the yacht.
So you can create that asset and you can record it. The idea behind that is that once you're, so for example, your car, right? Your car, you get it brand new, then you put new tires on, right? And then what is the proof that the new tires, the secondhand tires?
Right.
If your car crashes and you're repaired, how do you know the genuine parts? So you record all of that on chain, and it's immutable data, And remember you were asking that about blockchain and what is blockchain. It's not that tricky. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Right? Do you know SQL?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a database.
It is it.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can change SQL database.
Yes, you can.
Blockchain is a database. It's immutable.
Right.
So once things go on chain, you can't edit it. That's it.
Wow. You know what?
So it's blocked. It's quite easy to understand it. Yeah.
That's literally what it is. You know what? You've literally dumbed it down for me in such a level that I've finally grasped it. And I believe probably a lot of the users, hopefully a lot of the users, felt the same way, just like I did.
I mean, to be honest with you, all the talk about blockchain, this blockchain, that, it's fundamentally, a database.
Right.
Right? And transactions are recorded on database, and there are certain trusted parties that say, so for example, if we all agree that we are on a yacht, right? We are on a yacht.
We definitely agree, yeah.
Right?
100%.
So that's what blockchain is, right? And that's what creates a trusted environment that,
Right.
if someone does trusts you, but they don't trust us, that means there's a problem. But as long as the majority of the parties are trusted in the ecosystem, right, and they don't, and that's why you get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive for people to record incorrect data on chain, because if you record the right thing, you get incentivized for it, right? And that's what Ethereum does. That's what Bitcoin chain does.
Right.
That's what other chains do. So it's basically rewarding people to record the right data on chain,
Right.
and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's basically like, how in the, let's just say in the current world that we're living in, let's just say there's a piece of art, as you mentioned, NFTs and Bored Apes, etc.
Yeah.
They're also pieces of art, of course.
Of course.
But the actual authenticity can be relied upon when using blockchain and using KwikTrust as such, to actually authenticate it, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So one of the ideas was that if you're an artist, if you hold an IP on that, you upload it and it's recorded on chain, date and time stamped. That means the world knows that you own it. So any given time, there's a proof that you own that IP, and then once you sort of like if you want to sell it, the thing with artists is that if I was an artist, at least from a selfish point of view, right? If
Yeah.
I was producing some really good art, right, I want my name to be out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I would record it on chain and say, right, this is my name, right, and I attach my ID to it, right, and that's what we're doing with Super NFT, right? So you can either attach a wallet, which is a bunch of numbers, and say this wallet has produced it, or you can say that this is my verified ID. I'm Yasir Qayam, and this is my piece, right?
Wow.
Okay.
And this is my wallet that I've used to mint, right? And that's what we're doing,
That's amazing.
right? Because and if you look at it from an artist point of view, that's brilliant, because in 10 years' time you want to be remembered, right?
Yeah.
Right? No one's ever gone and produced things and stayed hidden.
Yeah.
If you
Except Banksy.
except Banksy,
Yeah.
but except Banksy,
Yeah.
but that in itself, I think that's his business model, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right, and
I don't know what he's making out of it, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, he must be making millions out of it, because somewhere someone knows him, but the whole
True.
the whole ecosystem has decided that, right, let's keep him hidden,
Yeah.
because that's worth more money,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So maybe that's his business model, right? But majority of the artists, like if you produce something, you want, and that's why people come on TikTok, people come on Reels on Instagram,
Yeah.
and we're sat here recording, and because we want people to know that who we are and what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
So why not take it to the next level with NFTs?
Of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So yeah, and then the other more boring application of that would be if you're signing a contract. Now, what with likes of DocuSign and everything else, it's more emails attached to it. What we are saying is that you can go through KYC and attach your identity to it, verified identity to it.
Okay, yeah.
So it's that, and also like digital signatures are pretty boring. Let's
Yeah.
face it,
Yeah.
right? It's boring. But what we have done is the app itself, the way we've designed it, the chap who's designed it, Nick, he's done some banking apps, some hip, cool banking apps. He worked on Monzo as well,
Right.
and a couple of other
nice,
like sort of
nice.
things. And if you look at the app, it's a little bit cooler than majority of the other apps.
100% is, yeah.
And
I'm not going to put down any other bank, but my bank, boring. Monzo one looks amazing.
yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a fan of Monzo, massive fan, just because how I can play with it, right?
Yeah.
How it looks and feels, and I think that's the main idea, because the users are changing now. The younger kids are taking bigger positions, and they don't want to see boring apps anymore.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They want to make it a little bit more cooler, a little bit more slicker, and I think that's what we bring to the ecosystem. And I'm quite happy and proud about that we have done that. And there are lots of like little things that we've done within the app, and Twitter is asking for $8 for a blue tick, but on our system, if you go through KYC, you get a blue tick, because then you're a recognized party within that. So if you're signing something or authorizing something or producing something, you have your blue tick attached to it on the certificate. So
Okay.
those sort of things. So
Yeah.
it might sound like, oh, it's overkill for a business, but a business care about it. But at the end of the day, that's a mechanism to show the world that yes, I'm verified on this ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a verified entity. They might not know you, but as soon as they put their email address in, it'll come up as like this person's verified.
Yeah.
And that's where the trust comes in KwikTrust.
Yeah, and the
That's where the name
blockchain
comes in.
and the 2FA and everything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things there.
So we figured out how the trust came in.
what about the
Right.
quick
How did the quick? What
with
was
a
the
K
quick part?
as well?
So the blockchain that we use is enterprise solution blockchain, right? So and the transactions happen pretty quickly on that. So 11,000 transactions per second.
Wow.
What?
So it's because it's not public blockchain. It's not like Ethereum or
Right.
Solana, which is total crap.
Still 11,000. That's
what
amazing
IBM
number.
Hyperledger Fabric 2.0. Yeah, that's what.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow. That's me. Well, now we understand why KwikTrust it is.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we kind of established this, whilst we were kind of talking about it, making, again, data but more accessible and secure and authentic. But how come, what is the reason that you wanted to be part of KwikTrust or start it off as such?
Okay. So I think for me, fundamentally, over a decade ago, I realized that 9 to 5 is not for me. Right.
Nice. That's what our viewers want. They don't want to be in that 9 to 5.
So there's a flip side. So I'll start with the story and I'll give you the flip side, right? So I decided that 9 to 5 is not for me. So now I want to do something, create value, and bring more people in there so that they can add more value to it and make it bigger, right? Partly was because, at some point you would want to buy time back. Right. But if you keep working 9 to 5, you're exchanging time with money.
Yeah.
And time is a finite resource.
Yeah.
Right. If someone told me I'm going to live 200 years, maybe I'll take a different view on that. But I'm gonna pull my clocks tomorrow. So time is, and I didn't want to be in that. And I've always been in tech. And I love tech. From new mobile phones to trying to root my mobile phones. And when Apple came out, when I found out that you could root Apple the first, when I tried to do it myself and successfully, and it failed and everything else, right? So I've been in tech. And when I heard about blockchain and delved deep into it, I'd realized that it's new tech. No one's an expert because it's only been there a couple of years. Ethereum had just launched. Smart contracts, people were still figuring out smart contracts, right? And I was like, right, this is the right time to delve into it. And went on to do blockchain strategy program at Oxford. So studying the whole piece of, how do you strategize for bigger businesses, blockchain applications. And that's where I think, that's where I met Simon and some of the advisors that we work with and some of the projects that I advise on. We are part of that ecosystem. And there's a big community of those guys who attended that course from I think first or second module that we did, year that we did. And I think that's where it all started, that, the fundamental was, I don't want to do 9 to 5. And what is it in front of me, which is going to change and which I like and which I love and which I can devote my next 10 years.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's not 6 months or a year or 2 years. It's a long-term thing.
Right. And
I think I found something that I absolutely love. Crypto market is absolutely insane, because it changes every day, and anyone who says they're an expert or know everything in that space is absolutely talking trash, because there is NFT space, then there's DeFi space, there's DeFi 2.0 space, right? That's up and coming. And then there's enterprise applications of blockchain technologies that, then there's governments trying, centralized digital currencies, CBDCs, so central bank digital currencies that China's been, testing for last year or something.
Right.
So anyone that says they're expert in blockchain, it's just like saying I'm an expert in internet. What part of the internet?
It seems like that excites you as well, being in that market, right?
Yeah, because it's all fluid. It's all fluid, and every time, and I never spent so much time on Twitter in my life that I've done in the last 5 years, because since I got into crypto and Twitter has been instant. People post and everything that comes on Twitter first, right? Right. So there's a whole community on Twitter that that shares knowledge, and it's a really young industry, still really young industry. Still people are trying and failing, and I'm not sure if you heard about FTX. FTX was the darling of the crypto world, and it was massive. And Sam was like the poster boy of building this $1 billion, but it was all been on House of Cards. Yeah. And things and the other thing is that coming into the blockchain space taught me about money, weirdly, right, because you look into DeFi and see how DeFi is working, and you question why they're doing that, but then you look at real world and they say, you're right, okay, the real world is also built on House of Cards, but those House of Cards are stuck together with super glue, and with banks and everything else, and we saw with Lehman Brothers falling, the ripple effect of that, right? So, and why did in the next phase, why did banks propped up? Because if banks don't get propped, there's a ripple effect. So it taught me a little bit more about money and my understanding of what money is and how it works and how institution works and how we're all being ripped off and everything else, and how we should all hold Bitcoin and gold and assets and things like that. So yeah.
So one question I had in my mind is, as you mentioned about Twitter and how they're bringing up that whole subscription theme, and there's a lot of changes going on. You've seen the layoffs happening. happening in Twitter, and Elon Musk has been, very much in the limelight of this, and being literally just being, of course, like, yeah, he is sort of to blame in a way, but at the same time, there's other sort of variables that are causing this sort of issue where layoffs are happening. We've seen it at Meta as well. I think it was it 12% or about 12,000 people had to be laid off.
11,000 people.
11,000, yes, it's crazy numbers, unfortunately. What is your thought about this whole, as soon as Elon Musk comes into Twitter, does a big layoff, chief executives are being laid off, people very high ranking, and then they bring out this whole verified status thing, and this whole thing about freedom of speech, but at the same time, there's a bit of hypocrisy there, as you know. What is your thoughts about this?
So the whole Twitter piece is I think the reason why Elon bought it is because tweets are powerful. There's more power in 160 characters than anything else at the moment.
Right.
Because you can broadcast it to your millions of people globally, right? So that's the reason he bought it. And like I was saying, you write your own truth, and his truth is different to what the previous CEO's truth was, or to Jack's truth was, right?
Yeah.
So he's come in with an idea what he wants to do with Twitter, and he's doing that, and he's made some changes.
Mm-hmm.
And never with Elon Musk, nothing happens quietly. Everything is out there in your face, big moves, sort of thing, right? Like things like he bought the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got his own brand going on, basically.
Yeah.
There you are. So he's. I mean Tesla. If you look at it as a car, it's an expensive car for what it is. Very expensive car, right? But if you see electric car, you think Tesla. But there are other cars that are better make and model and everything.
Yeah.
else. But he's a brand.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what it is about freedom. As far as freedom of speech goes, I think freedom of speech is a view. Everyone has a view. Like people on Twitter started changing their names to Elon Musk, and they started getting banned because they were saying things against Elon Musk, or tweeting something obnoxious and things like that. So freedom of speech. And there was also talk about, like, without going into politics, that bringing back Trump onto the platform,
right,
blocking him and everything else. So
so
it depends. We'll see. I'm looking forward to how many people pay $8 for verification.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, because the general consensus is that people are upset about it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that what else? How he's talking about micropayments,
right,
on Twitter, like making it into banking thing, which may be an interesting thing.
That is 100%,
because at the moment, we were talking about decentralization. At the moment, you post a LinkedIn article, right? LinkedIn gets all the value. You may get like some value out of it from you get more reach of your product or your brand,
right?
And they provide you marketing and things like that, or you may be able to hire someone from there,
right?
So you're giving them your data. The value sits with LinkedIn, right? But with Twitter, if I post something which goes out there, right, and which people love, right, as a content creator, I can get some money for it. I can get tips, informal tips or whatever, like TikTok's doing it.
Yeah.
You create good content, you get paid for it, and people make a living out of it. YouTube was doing the same thing. So he wants to trial that as well.
Yeah.
And if you can do that successfully, then it becomes a micropayment site. And talk about. He's also mentioned about WeChat. Like China lives on WeChat. WeChat does pretty much everything. It's super app. You can micropayments, you can deliver food, you can talk to your friends, you can video call, you can do whatever, right?
Yeah.
But there is nothing like that in the Western world.
Yeah.
Right. So if Twitter was to morph into something like that,
what's your feelings if that does happen though? Because
I don't know.
If Twitter did do that, they'll put a lot of other apps kind of out of business as well.
But it's a cycle. Like, do you? I mean, I don't know how old you are, but do you remember High Five? I remember High Five. I'm showing my age now, right? So I remember High Five.
I remember High Five
very briefly, right?
Yeah.
And MySpace and things like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they were there before Facebook,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then Facebook happened, and then after that, soon after that, Twitter came, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, "What, 180 characters? You know,
Yeah.
what the hell? You know,
Yeah. Everyone's best friend was Tom.
you know, and it's that sort of thing. And I don't use Facebook anymore, right? And
Yeah.
I use Instagram and WhatsApp, but that's part of Meta still, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the only two applications that I use. Facebook, not so much. But I know in some countries, you know, they make businesses out of Facebook groups and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a cycle, you know, and Facebook has committed what, $500 billion over a period of next 10 years maybe to build their metaverse.
Wow.
And someone did a comparison on you know, what that money in today's inflation adjusted value, and they compared it to the Apollo mission. That's how much is spent on Apollo mission. So
Wow.
that's how much Meta is committed to building their own metaverse.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy, but that is crazy. And I don't have the vision. I'm not Zuckerberg. I'm not as smart, as clever, and he, you know, probably knows something that we don't.
Yeah.
To commit that kind of crazy amount of money. But yeah, so you know, everyone's trying to do things and reinvent themselves. But I mean, I don't know where Facebook is going with this,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Are you for the metaverse?
We're building one.
We're building one.
We're building
Okay.
one, right. So we're building one, and I was testing it last week. So we just finished it this week, and it's next week it goes into testing, QA,
Oh yeah.
bugs and everything else.
Wait.
But we're building a really simple version, right? And you know, remove all red tapes, right? What is it? So you have you go to concerts, right? You sit with like-minded people. You enjoy. Like I was at a concert at Wembley a couple of weeks ago. It was Udit Narayanan and you know, back in
Nice.
80s singers, you know, 80s music that I grew
Classic.
up listening, right?
Yeah.
And all around us, there were like people and would sing the same tunes and everything.
Yeah.
So it brought community together, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing, right? In the metaverse, global community together. So we're providing a space where people can talk to each other, have a chat interaction, because everyone knows they're there for that event. And then, you know, advertising, right? So their brand deals and everything else that we can do with them, and people can get some global, like, you know, some time on there globally.
Right.
And then you have a theater where people can live stream. So what we're doing here, that can be live streamed in the metaverse. People can come and sit down and view it, right? None of this, like, you know, fancy sort of like, you know, wallets and you know, all of that. But what we are also doing is NFT marketplace within that ecosystem. So your merch, when you go to an event, you want to buy a merch,
Right.
right?
Oh,
Whether it's
okay,
digital or physical goods. So what we're saying is that you can buy digital goods in that space. So
Right.
if say for example, you know, WATTPOD want to sell membership to its app or free membership for a year,
Yeah.
you know, at a discount price, you know, you bring everyone into that. You live stream and people who attend, they can buy discounted, you know, discounted memberships for product.
Yeah.
Right. That can be sold as an NFT, right? So it's adding value to the business side of things, right? There's nothing in it for us, right? We're not making any fee on any transactions or anything like that. It's just that we're holding an event in that space.
I mean, to simplify the language to make it a bit more clear in viewers, it sounds like you guys are almost like exhibitions. Like you provide the panels, you provide the people,
Yeah.
and they can sort of kind of sell it on. Is that roughly? Would you say this is similar?
Yeah. So we have a space like
Yeah.
you have Over Arena
Yeah.
in Wembley, right? And anyone who wants to run a concert, sell merch, they can come in, set a shop, and then just do it.
Nice.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
No red tape, nothing. You know, no big deals with Sandbox or anything like that.
Right.
Just, you know, from small SMEs, anyone who wants to try it.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are more than welcome to try it
Oh,
with your users.
we'd
You
love
know,
to.
Once it's up and running,
100%.
you know, come in, advertise. You know, anyone who's used what the app,
Yeah.
the pod app, they you can put the banners on there. You know,
Oh,
so they can
nice.
get some FaceTime with your viewers, and then you can live stream this onto the metaverse.
Oh, that's amazing.
I think that's. I think we touched back on the topic. I think that is where the money is, though, when it comes to the metaverse. It's a
Right.
social element, actually. I think you can't really put a price on social element, and I think that's what social media
Yeah.
has grown so much. Because I think we as human beings do crave
Yes.
social,
Yeah.
and if you digitalize it, you're essentially making it easier. You're getting rid of the obstacles. Like I don't have to get up from the morning. You know, I don't have to get myself ready or do a haircut or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can actually just go there and get that social buzz essentially.
Yeah.
And I think that is what sells most likely. That's probably why they're investing in it heavy.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is a social aspect. I think after the whole COVID thing, a lot of like, I mean, I myself, I found my sort of my habits change,
Yeah.
and quite in a big way. You know, I used to go to gym a lot, and now I'm like, I have a gym membership. I haven't seen the inside of a gym for like,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and I spend most of my time, you know, working from home, and I've got comfortable with it. I've got a whole setup, and habits change. But somewhere when it comes to the weekend, I'm like, I haven't been out. Like, I haven't seen the sun like today. I haven't been
Yeah.
out for a
Yeah.
walk or anything like that. So, you know, on weekends, I try and, you know, push myself and go out.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine balance that you need to find, being like having a life kind of having a life online,
Yeah.
i.e. on the metaverse, and then also the real life where you need to still enjoy and make sure that you're going out there.
Yeah, but imagine this, right? So, I want to socialize with like-minded people, right?
Right.
They don't have to be in my area, right? If there's
I
an
can just
event,
meet them.
I can,
Yeah.
And that's why one of the things that we were quite keen on is building a chat functionality within there, where you can have group chats with people. So you go to an event. I'm an extrovert, right?
Right.
I can talk for the world and a half, you know, twice over, right? Some people aren't, right? But when I go out, when you meet like-minded people, I hang around with them, and I want to have, you know, just chat with them and
Yeah.
speak to them and pick their brains and, you know, ask them loads of questions. So this is exactly the same thing, right? But it's in a niche, right? So I was at a sneaker con last weekend. There was a
Right.
sneaker con in Wembley, right? And there were loads of people there, and I don't know anything about sneakers, but I'm curious about it. So I was just like asking, like, okay, so what is that? And what is that? You know?
Okay.
And if that's in the metaverse, like the Americans have a massive culture,
Yeah.
right? So if that's in the metaverse, I can ask all those questions,
Yeah.
like to hundreds of people, and I can get that response, right?
Yeah.
Instant response, right? And that's the idea of having a life online, or having that online, that you can speak to people. And some people are introverts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? They're more comfortable with behind the keyboard, and, you know,
And listening.
and
Yeah.
you know, they have the knowledge, but when you see them face to face, they're not very confident.
I think that's where the metaverse also is beneficial for them, because they're maybe more comfortable online.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're embarrassed on the metaverse, I suppose it's not as bad as being embarrassed in real life.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to see your face going red or anything.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting, the way you're phrasing it, or the way you're thinking about it, is I could learn something by going somewhere in the metaverse where people are experts and pick that up pretty swiftly,
Yeah.
which is the positive side. I suppose the disadvantage is that I could be a like-minded individual, and I'll only hang around people who are like-minded, and that could be something at a disadvantage, because that could be quite dangerous.
Well, it's like the thing that, like the example you gave, like you're not really into sneakers.
No,
you went
but I'm
into-
saying if there could be other people in who will use the metaverse, because nothing's really good or bad, depends on really how you use it.
Yeah.
And it could be that with the metaverse, people could only be hanging around with people who think like them, which is not bad in itself. It's not a bad thing, but it could, because when you speak with other people, you do get different opinions in real time, if that makes sense. Because very rare you're going to find someone who's exactly like you.
Yeah.
So you see the advantages and disadvantages in that. I feel like it could create more hives.
It's like easier for you to go identify that group which is like-minded to you, rather than in real life.
It's the internet, though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
social media. That's what social media is as well.
Yeah.
But my challenge to that is Facebook.
Yeah.
You know how they did what they did with the elections, right? And they
Oh,
pushed ads out,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so on. I think the best algorithm is on TikTok at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Because it changes really quickly, adapts really quickly, right?
Yeah.
So it pushes information to you of what you like. So if you like 10 Trump videos,
It's
that's the
gonna-
only content that you're gonna get.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the downside of that. In the metaverse, because these are all real people, right? You can have a healthy discussion with them. They may have opposing views, or they may have similar views, but it's not the machine learning pushing you and reinforcing your ideas.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
You see? So we may have similar ideas, but we may find a third person who may not have a similar idea. So, you know, we might have a conversation, but there is an opposing idea. But
Right.
it's not the machine that is saying to us, right, it's excluding the person that's not in there. What I'm trying to say is that if you're free to make a group,
Yeah.
right, you may get some slight different variation because they're real people,
Yeah.
right? With not a machine that is telling you that, oh, picking for you. It's like dating on Tinder, right? It tells you that, oh, this is a good match for you, right?
Yeah.
How the hell does that know? How does that machine know that one's a good match
That's
and
true.
one's not?
Yeah.
You see?
I suppose it's more dangerous with the machine reinforcing it, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Because the machine doesn't care about if it's harmful or not.
Yep.
Whereas a person is more likely to care.
Yeah.
There could be psychopaths out there, but it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
a good point.
Just that we're coming to a close shortly now.
Okay.
One of the last questions was when you're working with clients, what is like the number one thing that you look out for, that you want to kind of bring importance to when you are either advertising or marketing KwikTrust to them?
So from a KwikTrust, coming back to KwikTrust, we have run testing and with the customers and clients, and they've given us feedback, and pretty much all of that is being incorporated. Purely because the product is new, right? We launched a couple of weeks ago, and the feedback is important to us.
Yes.
And if we are pushing it out to users and incentivizing them, it doesn't make sense to ignore what they want, what they say. I speak to a lot of people on the product, demo them, and gather the feedback.
Right.
Because it's not a case of we will build and they'll come anymore, right? It's a case of we built something. How can we improvise it?
Mm-hmm.
So last year when we launched our MVP, lawyers were testing it and the accountants were testing it, and they gave us feedback, and pretty much all feedback was incorporated and made the product more robust.
Right.
So first an experience, the feedback incorporated makes the product robust. So really important.
That's great.
Really
Cool. Thank you very much. Really loved having you on, Yasir. Honestly, this was just a big insight into, in what KwikTrust does. Sorry about that. My just got a bit of spit in my mouth. What KwikTrust does, and how the whole world is kind of dwelling into blockchain and the metaverse, and also just like you as a personality. Like honestly, I've felt like if I was also at your university, we would have been friends, 100% sure. And so I really appreciate that. And I guess we're coming to a close.
Definitely coming to close. I think a lot of value brought for the viewers as well.
I hope so.
Not just KwikTrust as well, of course. That's value in itself. But it's been great having you. To be fair, since we're here, since you have the platform as well, is there anything you want to tell to the viewers? Any message?
We plug KwikTrust plug.
Yeah,
plug it.
Plug it. Yeah, that's
right.
What it's for.
So we're launching the product next week officially, right? And it'll be out there. So if you go to www.kwiktrust.com and register and play with it, and any feedback that you have, I'll be more than happy to hear from you guys.
Great.
Sounds
Amazing.
good.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing. And hopefully we'll see you at the next episode of WATTPOD. What a time to podcast. Take care. Peace.
Okay, guys. Bye.